Yeah, first of all, we were talking about this, the judge and myself, just recently, that each state's evidence rules are different in terms of what is allowable to be introduced as evidence and relevant evidence according to the evidence rules. And some states like Florida are far more favorable to the prosecution and the admission of evidence than other states. For example, this kind of evidence would never be, in my opinion, admitted in the state of New Jersey unless it can go to a very direct reason that either proves or disproves a particular fact. But that said, yeah, it's time for action. What concerns me, Michael, is I'm not going to have an answer for how this is going to lay with the jury, but I can just tell you as a homicide prosecutor that's investigated a number of cases, when we've taken statements in emails and in acrimonious relationships, they can be twisted and contorted to mean anything. And many times people jump to conclusions that later were determined to be inaccurate. So I'm really queasy about this kind of information because it's like we're trying to look. There's an acrimonious relationship. She's not saying go kill him. She's not saying go harm him. She's talking about the legal route. And I hope your lawyer's a killer and things of that nature. So when they say take action, what does that mean? I don't know. And as a judge, I would be unsatisfied that you've proven to me that this is actually proving or disproving and could be misconstrued by a jury. Those are my thoughts. To me, it's just like evidence that's, if I were investigating the case, I'd be unsatisfied that is certainly a major piece of evidence, maybe in combination with other things that adds up.
Yeah, excellent point. And we know that when people are involved in these types of divorce proceedings, it brings out the worst in everyone.
It brings out the worst in everyone. They're never good when it gets to a bitter custody dispute. But, Bob, I have to talk about Wendy briefly because all of the viewers are talking about it on Twitter and all the other social media, which is, hey, is Wendy going to be charged by the prosecution? And when I heard about that communication you just referenced, when Donna says to Wendy, relocation non-negotiable, and then after that happens time for action, I think whether or not there's going to be a conviction, I am convinced the prosecution is going to charge Wendy. Your thoughts?
Great point. Actually, when the testimony was coming out from the boyfriend, I was saying to myself, well, where's Wendy? Well, like if I were the defense lawyer, I'd be like, why isn't Wendy sitting here? I mean, that goes to the culpability of potentially Wendy, not necessarily the mother. When you're talking about the Nissan and the look at it, because she's asking lots of questions, that the implication there is that Wendy is involved in something. So again, I don't know how that's admissible to Donna. I do believe it would be something that would be admissible to Wendy. And I think there's going to be a question mark potentially in the jurors' minds as to why isn't Wendy here. But the manner in which this prosecution has proceeded, which I got to give them credit for, maybe Wendy's next.